Embrace a youthful mindset and envision your future. Take the lead is in your walls.
Take the lead is in your walls.
This platform serves as a space for engagement designed to equip young people to become effective leaders. They are actively contributing, creatively engaged, and determined in various fields. And now, this is Take the Lead.
Hello to you out there and welcome to Take the Lead, the 23rd episode of your Youth Exchange program here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. My name is Augustine Cully, and today our focus is on the key factors responsible for rising number of divorce cases among young married couples. We are live on 94.9 FM and also streaming live on YouTube at WADR News, as well as Facebook, WADR English Service. You can also get us online worldwide at wadr.org and listen live and direct from our main studios here in Dakar. As a reminder, we will be reading your comments on our live broadcast feed, so please send your reactions. This is a very interesting topic for you to also have your say. Divorce rates are significantly higher among young couples, especially those who marry before the age of 20. According to research by Divorce.com, couples who marry before the age of 18 have a 48% chance of divorcing within 10 years compared to a 25% chance of those who marry after the age of 25. Notably, the research also reveals that 60% of individuals who marry between the ages of 20 and 25 will eventually go through a divorce, according to experts. Today, we will discuss the key factors influencing these frequent divorce cases among young married couples and explore the reasons behind the increase in number, as well as finding solution to these problems. So please stick with us.
Take the Lead is back in 2025 with a brand new format. Yes, your youth exchange space will now be broadcast live every Friday at 4:05 p.m. Universal Time. And that's not all. Dear internet users and WADR subscribers, you have the opportunity to experience the show live and direct on our online platforms on Facebook at WADR English Service and on YouTube at WADR. Take the Lead every Friday from 4:05 p.m. Universal Time and rebroadcast same day at 1 a.m. Universal Time. Also, every Tuesday, your youth program will be rebroadcast at 7:15 a.m. and 4:05 p.m. GMT. Take the lead and champion the discourse for the betterment of young people.
And that is so right. So joining us for our discussion today are experts and also young people who are to benefit from this wonderful topic. They are Leon Juf, a certified nutrition coach, a sleep and recovery expert with over a decade of experience transforming lives across Senegal and Ethiopia. It's a pleasure to have you once again, Leon, and welcome to the show. Tell us, how do you feel today?
I feel great. Thank you for inviting me again.
It's a pleasure.
I'm here to learn as much as possible.
Thank you. Next is Gloria Boko, an advocacy and policy officer at One Campaign, and she's also a national from Togo. Let's hear how you feel today, and welcome to the platform,
Thank
Gloria.
you. I'm feeling great. Very happy to be part of this discussion. And yeah, I'm also here to learn, hear from experts, and also give my opinion. Thank you.
Great. It's a pleasure. We also have Samuel Dako Koran, a pastor, a counselor, and a lifestyle coach in Ghana, joining us. Now, welcome, sir. How are you doing? And welcome to the platform.
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be part of this discussion. I feel excited to be a blessing to young ones this very afternoon.
Great, great. As well as Ms. Sarah Gillan, a gender equality advocate, a career coach, and a personal mentor from the Gambia. It's a pleasure to have you, Ms. Gillan. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. And not forgetting you, our online followers, whose comments we will be reading out as we go along with the program, because you know it's also important to have your say on the program. We will get the ball rolling, beginning with the personal understanding or opinion of marriage by our guest. And of course, we will start with the counselor to drill us through, firstly, about what he makes of marriage in these current days of life from his own wisdom and understanding. So let's hear from you, counselor. Please tell us, in your own wisdom, what does marriage represent in current days?
So, thank you once again. What I would say about marriage is two matured individuals coming together with one focus to procreate and also live life. That's what I can say simply. Yeah. On the other hand, marriage has taken another turn in our generation. Not the same as we saw with our parents and our grandfathers. In our generation, it has taken a different turn altogether. And I'm sure by the end of this program, we will come out with all the nitty-gritties of this. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you as well. It's a pleasure. Now, coming in studio to hear from Gloria in terms of her own understanding about marriage, what so much you heard from your friends, or you continue to hear about what marriage is about or what it represents?
So, for me, first, marriage is a divine institution. Marriage is also...
Okay, you can please make use of the microphone. You can just get closer. Thank you.
So, marriage is also a commitment between two grown individuals who decide to grow together, to share their value, and to build a stability and emotional stability, a deep connection, and to build a family in the society.
Great. But I will ask Leon this question in terms of his understanding whether young people still believe in marriage, despite our topic of, the frequent divorce cases among young married couples.
If I look at the people around me, older people, I would say yes. Younger people, there's a tendency today to lean towards being single because they feel there's too much trouble in getting married. Therefore, it is much easier to remain single by yourself, living your life, trying to enjoy. As they say, you only have one life to live. And so that's the impression that we're getting more and more. And there's this whole thing behind in social media that sort of encourages that kind of lifestyle. That makes you feel that marriage is looking for problems.
Okay, great. Now, Ms. Gillan, let's hear your personal understanding about marriage in current day realities. I know some will say marriage in the old ages were quite different from now, but from your own experience and observation, what can you point to as your own realization of marriage in these current times?
Thank you once again for having me. I think I will side with the other lady in the team that marriage for me is a covenant, it's a partnership. And I'll also side with my brother who said that nowadays there has been a trend in social media that makes marriage appear useless or insignificant. And that might be because some of the privileges, some of the benefits that made people get married before in the past might not necessarily be existing in the same way today. So those things that we were looking for back then as women in our men is now different. And those things that men were looking for in women might also be different. So for me, I have also seen both sides. I still believe that marriages are successful and are beautiful things, but I've also seen the other side where people are tending to take a step back and focus on themselves and work life on their own. Yeah.
But sticking with you, what do you think are the main motivation for young people to get married in the first place? Ms. Gillen? Okay, so...
Yes, please. Did you say the main motivations for getting married?
Yes, so main motivations. What really motivates them to getting married?
I think for starters, let's not forget the emotions, the love part. I know everyone says marriage is not about love. Marriage is more than love. But love is literally one of the main motivators for people to get married, right? We have the emotions, they're heightened, and we feel like we can share things together. So going back to the number one, love and our emotions, I think it's one of the main motivators for today's kind of marriages that we're seeing. And the flip side of that can also be that, is love strong enough a foundation for you to actually start a marriage on? But that's another thing I'm getting into. If I want to ask myself, why was I motivated to get married to my husband? I'll probably say he became my best friend. I could see myself spending forever with him. We started having a shared goal, shared mindset, and I could see that our core values were beginning to become one. Till today, there are still some differences, but there is so many more that brings me and him together than those that separate us. And I would say that is one of the main motivations also for getting married.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, let me cross over to Mr. Kuran. Like I asked Gloria, do you think young people still believe in marriage despite this frequent wave of divorce that they see among their young married couples?
Yes, they still believe in marriage, as Gillian rightly said. The drive from the love they feel, the emotions they feel towards each other, pushes them to go into marriage. And it's very important. We can't take the love aspect out of it. So they are getting it right by, following their emotions and feeling attached to one particular person. They want to live their lives forever. The only thing is that what actually happens after the marriage becomes the center of discussion. Before they get together, it's full of love, it's full of happiness. The exuberance is there. They seem very prepared until you get locked in there, and then other realities start popping up. Then things start taking a different turn. So yes, the young ones, they are ready. They seem ready. Let me put it that way. They seem ready until they get there.
Okay, great. I'm concerned about expectations of the young people, and I'll come to you, Gloria. Before you take a decision, you must be expecting a result that you believe you can achieve. What do you think mostly young people will get engaged into marriage? What their expectations could be?
So I think their first expectation is to be loved, let me say forever, by their partners. Is also the idea of having someone on whom you can rely, someone who will commit to just live for you, to be there to support you, someone who can support you in every way, someone who can be a good father or a good mother to your children. So those are some of the expectations of young people when they enter marriage, and also have a stability, feel like they are really accepted by the society. Through marriage.
Okay, but I will cross over to Leon, because as a man, maybe you'll be thinking to get married soon or any other plans. But what do you think would trigger a man to get him married? What do you think he will be expecting after that marriage?
Trying to get me into trouble.
Not really.
That's an excellent question. if I'll take myself for example, I think for me loyalty and trust is extremely important. Somebody that you can rely on, someone that you know that has your back, that's extremely important to me. In the world today where people really care about themselves, having somebody there that looks out for you, that's huge. So for me, definitely somebody that can have my back. And I know that, come hell or high water, she will be there. Look out for me. And somebody who's willing to weather the storm with you, that is huge. That's for me anyways. I can't speak for other men.
I know. But these are great expectations that, resonate with young people also listening to the show across the globe. But I'm also concerned about the realities that come after if you don't, achieve these expectations, or these expectations do not come to reality. So at what point that young people can realize or discover the realities of marriage too lately? And I will come to you, Ms. Gillen. At what point of marriage that these young people realize the realities that, this is what my mother, my father has been going through? I didn't know. At what point of the marriage they can really discover these things? To you, Ms. Gillen.
Thank you. I think that's a good question. And I would like to start by saying that it will vary from one marriage to another, right? From the time you will experience, this thing is real, it will vary. But normally they will say from the first 3 to 5 years, if you have passed that 5 years mark, you probably know what you are doing, right? That's what we normally tell people. But things change, things happen. And sometimes when we get married as young people, I think one thing we do not realize is the fact that our partner, that is our husband or our wife, is someone who's also changing and growing. So as we are growing in that marriage, at any point in time, even after 20 years, the person you once loved or who you once married can be someone different. And now it becomes a reality. Like, is this really what I want? Is this what I am going for? Is this what marriage is? So it can start as early as in the first year, or even as late as in the 20 years of marriage, when new things come, new challenges come, and you start thinking, was this my expectation? So even if you have been married for 30 years, you are not out of the line, because things can happen even at 30. So any time in marriage can be a learning roundabout for anyone.
Okay. We will come to aspect where and how to prepare yourself or to engage these realities when you are already married and they are beginning to come into your phase in your life. But I'm also concerned, crossing over to you, Councillor Kuram, is marriage always a union of love, merrymaking, or does it sometimes become a social or cultural formality?
The whole concept about marriage is a divine plan that God put together, that man and woman should live together. You understand? But what we see now is we are paying attention to unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations. Somebody is getting married and feels that when I get married, the man is going to take care of me, going to take care of my family, and everything is going to go well with me, and I'll be happy ever after. That kind of thing. And it's not going to work that way. So one of the things that we need to prepare ourselves towards marriage is emotional intelligence and emotional maturity. So most of the people are not emotionally matured. They don't know how to handle issues. Even before marriage, people are not prepared enough, especially when it comes to our family setting, and as men especially. We are not really prepared for marriage. We see the mothers preparing their daughters for marriage, but we the men are the ones that, and funny enough, in marriage, we the men are the vulnerable ones. We are very vulnerable when it comes to marriage as men. And, yes.
So please explain further.
Yes, you see, men don't handle emotions very well. Women do it better than men. We always want to hide behind something, and then we are suffering, we are dying inside, and we are not able to express it. Sometimes when you talk about it, you are free, you're able to ease out, and the women do that most often. But men, on the other hand, will go and hide behind maybe some work schedule or something to cover up whatever they are feeling or whatever they are going through, unlike the women. So you find men having high blood pressure more than women. Because we are not talking about it. We are not having conversations about whatever is going on. Our expectations in the marriage itself is problematic, and especially the young ones who are coming. Everyone is getting married, and if I'm 30 years, I should get married. That's one of the expectations that is pulling everyone down. I don't know whether you get me.
Very well, very well, very well.
Yes.
Very well.
So as part of getting matured, you have to study temperaments. Know your partner very well. It's not about going to the pub and buying drinks and eating and going to watch movies and moving around, going to see family. No. Some people are even failing to. Someone comes and you want to ask the person, who is your husband? Just explain who your husband is, and that person cannot do this in 3 sentences. It's a problem.
Okay, thank you. Now that we've delved a lot on an overview of marriage, let's focus on the causes for these frequent divorce cases among young married couples. And let's begin this with you, Ms. Gillen. What have you observed so far as some important or significant factors contributing to the rise in divorce cases among young couples?
Thank you. I think that's a good one. To start, I would say what I've observed would probably be people shying away from difficult conversations. And if you run away from difficult conversations in marriage, and these can include topics on finances, topics on infidelity, topics on relatives and family, these are all hard conversations. And whenever young people shy away from these conversations, how do we spend our money as a family? If we get out of work, what do we do? How do we treat our in-laws? What commitments do you have towards your mother before marriage? What commitments do you have towards your father before marriage? How are we going to run this home, this our new home, independent of our in-laws? So these are all hard conversations that sometimes young people, due to our emotions and our love and the culture of time is running out, we rush into marriage without preparing ourselves for these conversations. Okay. And sometimes we get inside the marriage and then we want to start having these conversations. And another person is like, well, we didn't discuss this. This is not what I agreed to with you on. And this goes on to other things like the number of children you want to have. Do you even want to have children? What kind of religion do you want to raise your children in? Especially those that are in interreligious relationships. So you get into the marriage, you knew the man was from a different religion, you did not discuss the children and how they're going to be raised. Once you now start having children, the man says, oh, they're going with me, and you are like, no. So some of the conversations that we find difficult and we shy away from, whenever we do not tackle them early on, they end up becoming reasons why we have a divorce. Not because we don't love each other, but because we don't know how to resolve these complex issues in our home.
Okay, great.
I think I'll stop there.
Yes, great. Now, I'm concerned about the digital age that we find ourselves in. You see, young couples on social media, they're posting their wedding clothes. Some of them, they are posting where they have gone for a program. And you, as a young person, Gloria, you see that. What do you think about the impact of the social media on these marriages that young people engage into?
That's honestly a great question. I think social media has a really great influence and impact on marriage, because when you see or you watch young couple content creators on social media, what they used to show is a happy family. They will never show that they have problems in their couple. They will never show the realities. They just show a part of the iceberg of what marriage is actually. So when you are not aware, you are not well prepared, you will think, oh, this is all how marriage should be or marriage is, but marriage has its own reality. In marriage, you will face misunderstanding. In marriage, you will face lack of communication. Like, every marriage has its own realities, and that's something young people should understand, so that they will not compare their reality to what they used to watch on social media.
Great. From the social media, we concentrate on the religious or social influence on marriage. With you, Leon, some people come from different religious background, some people from different cultural background, but maybe because of love it bonds them together. But at some point in time, tell me, how do the two impact these young married couples' lives?
I'm trying to understand your question. What do you mean? Like, what aspect of their religion and culture affects the relationship?
Yes.
Well, I think I will go back to, as my friend Sarah said, concerning interreligious marriages. It's very complex. It's very complex, especially if the two people are devout to their own respective religion. Okay. Yes, you're in love, you're happy, it's beautiful, flowers everywhere, butterflies, but then you have to come down to the reality of the fact that you may have children, you may have different expectations that are based on your faith or on your tradition, and we tend to look past that because we're so into the other person, and that often leads to trouble, at least from what I've seen. But the couples who have been able to weather through that were extremely mature and were able to see those differences as assets instead of liabilities to their relationship. So I think it's just a matter of just looking at the problem from a different angle.
Okay, that's wonderful. Coming down to early marriage, for which one will believe could be a factor for these frequent divorce cases among young married couples. Let's hear from you, Councillor Kuran. What do you make of this? Do you think it's a significant contributing factor to the frequent divorce cases among young married couples?
Yes, it is. It is. Marriage is not for the weak. Marriage is not for small boys and small girls. I mean, we need to understand that. You need to be matured to even understand the God's design or the architecture of marriage. Nowadays the whole thing has become like a contract. So I expected you to do this, you didn't do it, I'm off. I'm going. Instead of it being the covenant, we are taking away the submission. We are taking away the sacrifice. And if you are young at that age, you may not understand all this. You need to go through life a bit to really understand some of these things, getting the original or the main concept of marriage before you go to it. So if you are not matured enough, your brain is not, I don't know which the right words to use, but your brain is not made up well. You can't stand it. You can't stand it. Already as a young person, you have so many expectations, which may most of them may be unrealistic.
Okay.
So you need to be old enough to be part or to get married. Other than that, your immaturity will pull everything down.
Okay, great. Well, so far we have listened to interesting interactions with our guests on this 23rd edition of Take the Lead in the year 2025. However, let's travel to Nigeria now and listen to this report about divorce cases filed by WADR's Yechenu Sasetu in Abuja.
So I promise you forever and for always.
For many, marriage is the dream, the fairy tale ending after a whirlwind romance. For others, it's the beginning of a journey filled with uncertainties, compromises, and lessons no one prepares you for.
Bring out the bride.
Meet Joy Adamu, a 30-year-old bride-to-be. She beams as she talks about her fiancé.
What actually attracted me to my husband-to-be is his maturity. I'm not afraid to get married. And I think I'm prepared physically, mentally, spiritually for marriage.
Hopefully grounded, determined to make it work. But for many young couples, this hope doesn't always hold up under pressure. 6 years ago, the Abolorines stood at the altar, full of similar dreams, but they quickly discovered that living together was a different kind of test.
I think one of the biggest challenge I've actually had in my marriage is learning to communicate during conflicts.
Trying to understand our own point of view, our differences. The way she handles it is quite different from the way I handle it,
Their story is one of survival, not perfection, and they're not alone. Statistics show that divorce among young couples often occurs within the first 5 years. A report from divorce.com ranks Nigeria 11th out of 26 countries with the highest divorce rates and reveals that in sub-Saharan Africa, particularly in Nigeria, women are more likely than men to initiate divorce proceedings.
Definitely, we must face challenges. There's some difficult challenges that overwhelm you. You have to seek for advice from others first, so you cannot just conclude on divorce.
Prince Stephen, at 55 years old, has seen marriage evolve across generations.
To me, I will bear it and make sure I will see the end of it. For me to just walk out and say, okay, let me write divorce or to me, it's not in my agenda.
So why are more young couples walking away? Some blame unrealistic expectations. Others point to a lack of preparation or the pressures of a fast-paced, comparison-driven world. We posed that question to Irene Imukode, a marriage counselor with years of experience guiding couples through faith-based premarital classes.
Couples seek divorce for many reasons, and most of which are due to lack of understanding that marriage is not a bed of roses.
She says counseling works only when both partners are genuinely willing to cooperate.
Patience and the spirit of forgiveness are required to scale through most of these challenges.
And so, the story continues, from the excitement of new love to the trials of long-term commitment. Marriage remains both beautiful and brutal. For every couple that makes it, there is a silent lesson. Love alone is not enough. It takes communication, commitment, and community. Because while the wedding may be one day, marriage is a lifetime of choosing each other again and again.
Thanks to WADR's Yechenu Sasetu for that report.
Hey people, my name is Mello, Afrobeat singer from Guinea and Conakry. I love listening to the program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
Hello, my name is Fatou Bintou Asuke. I'm the CEO of African Start Shop and I love listening to your program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
And so welcome back to Take the Lead, your youth exchange program that sets the agenda for you for discussion about young people within the West African sub-region and beyond. Let's now recognize our partner stations that rebroadcast this program across the sub-region, beginning with Nigeria, where we have Darling FM. We also have Nensit FM in Kaduna State. We have Love FM in Abuja. Crossing over to Liberia, we have Alternative Youth Radio in Lofa County. We have DCN Radio in Rivers County. We also have Kwatika Radio in Banga, Bong County. Now, in Sierra Leone, we have African Young Voices there in Freetown that also rebroadcasted this program. Radio Buff in Mile, Sierra Leone. We also have Hands of Hope there in Freetown. And we have Eastern Radio in Kolno District there in Sierra Leone. Crossing over to Ghana, we have Radio Path in the Savannah region. We have Royas FM, and that's for Ghana. Now in the Gambia, we have Numi FM as well as Radio Veritas. Those are our partner radio stations that rebroadcast this program in those countries. So it's a pleasure that you are there and listening to this program. Not only today, after today, you will have a rebroadcast of it and you will also enjoy the show. We will now focus on the prevention and solutions to these challenges we spoke about, divorce cases among young people. And we begin with understanding what should be taught to young people before they get into marriage. What should be the lessons so that they do not see it as a surprise to them? And let's begin with you, Mr. Kuran, quickly. What would you advise young people that they should be aware of before getting into marriage?
I think that, Augustine, young people should talk about life goals. Life goals and lifestyles. There shouldn't be a mismatch when it comes to life goals and lifestyles. We should be on the same page. So most of the divorce cases now, one of the main factors will be the mismatch in life goals and lifestyles. Somebody wants to spend hours outside drinking, clubbing, and the other one is an introvert and wants to be in the room, all alone. And they are not meeting each other at a point. And it's going to create a lot of problems. So it's something that we need to talk about. I think that, as Gillian said, we shouldn't shy away from having some conversations. The conversation is not flowing. They are not talking about the most important things. We are going to have kids, even work and marriage balance. We need to talk about it. Who is coming home first? Who is putting the food in the microwave? Who is going to take care of the kids? Who is coming back later with groceries and all the stuff? So I think that one of the things they have to start talking about is their lifestyle, their life goals, and then I think they will be okay.
Okay, crossing over to you, Ms. Gillen, let's know the role that parents can play, the role that schools, the roles that religious organizations can play in ensuring that young marriages are not broken.
Thank you. I think we can start with the parents. For parents, if they are honest and vulnerable to their children about the realities of their marriage, because many people have a false idea of what their parents' marriages looked like because it was well protected. In Senegambian culture, we will say sutura. Everything is sutura, 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 to the point that people are ignorant of some of the challenges in marriages. So parents can do better by sharing just a little bit of what the challenges might be in marriages, starting from their own homes. And for parents as well, let us try to shift away from just preparing our females for marriage and leaving our men. So if we get to the habit of preparing both genders for marriage, both our sons and our daughters, equip the men to know what it takes to be the head of the household, to be the leader in that home. Teach them, speak with them. So when they get there, they will not be overwhelmed by the responsibilities of being a father, of being a husband, of still having to be a son to their own parents, because it's a big change from just being a child to now being a husband or a father. Okay. So that kind of conversation needs to be had. And then for the schools, I will also say let them continue having education, especially on sexual health. These are some of the things we leave behind, and then we get married and we're confused about things that are going on. So schools can get there teaching us about that, but also about emotional intelligence, emotional regulation and management. The earlier we learn those things, the better for when we get married. Thank you.
Great. Okay, coming here in studio with you, Leon. just during the break, we were having some chat, and you were concerned about young people who often post their wedding photos on the social media, doing the weddings. But when they divorce, they don't post those, photos to let the public know that the thing that we were happy about, has crashed. But just as you will say more about that, what is your vision for marriage, maybe in 10, 20 years from now?
I honestly don't have a vision for marriage. I think it's going to be the same institutions and we'll still face the same challenges. But one thing I will like to mention as a health and fitness expert, here's one thing, and I think we need to add a little fitness in it, if you guys don't mind, since it's my specialty.
Okay.
That married men tend to live longer than their single counterparts. That's been proven time and time again. If you're married, you live longer, and for obvious reasons. Men, we're very bad at taking care of ourselves. And women, because of their caring nature, tend to not overlook so many things. They're always on the lookout for something. And so I'll give you an example. A husband is sick. He goes to see the doctor, and the doctor says, well, we may have to do some additional tests. And the man will pretty much often say, oh, well, it's bad. It's not that bad. I'll be fine. And the wife looks at him and is like, no, doctor, he's going to do the additional tests. So women tend to really are more on the lookout for their husband's health. They're better carer, and they pay attention to details. So it's been shown over and over again that married men live longer. So when we speak about marriage being difficult, there's an advantage as well. Okay. And that's one thing, having a wife that takes care of you and looks out for you.
I know that.
So do get married.
That's right. Gloria, let's hear from you. What are your plans or maybe your vision 10 to 20 years or 15 years from now in terms of marriage?
I think I will go in the same line with Leon, that I don't have a particular vision. I think marriage will still be like, or maybe worse, like what it is today. Marriage will be above social pressure today. Marriage will be above rigid gender roles. So we just need to make sure as young people to be prepared for that, and also for our parents to prepare their children for their marriage.
Okay, great. Now, finally, let's hear from you, Sir Koran, as you take leave of us. What are your parting statements to young people across the world?
My final statement will be, we should not ignore unresolved family and childhood issues. We should not ignore. It's one of the things that we should pay attention to. Whatever is going on around us, in our environment, in our community, we should pay attention to. And then we should be firm on our decisions. If you don't want to be like our fathers and our mothers, whatever they went through, we have to take a decision. And we have to make sure that we don't go through divorce. Divorce is not an option. Stay married the godly way. Pay attention, stick to your wife, stick to your husband. I want to stay married to my wife forever. And I advise that everyone does too.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We hope to have you on this platform another time, sir.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
All right. Let's hear from you, Ms. Sarah Gilland, your final words.
Thank you so much for having me. I would like to just say that divorce can be an option, especially if there is abuse. So let me just say that here. So if you're in a marriage and there's so much abuse going on, whether it's emotional, whether it's sexual, whether it's domestic violence, you can consider divorce. But my final word going would be, if you are a woman and you are under the age of 25, just know that your frontal lobe is not yet fully developed. What you are seeing in a man today that you are head over heels for can change by the time you are 27, 28. So do take your time and evaluate the kind of man you want to be with. Marriage is for a very, very long time. And once you can go, you might not want to go. So just make sure before you go in, You have all the hard conversations. You're honest, you're open, and you're unafraid to say, these are my standards and these are my expectations. And God being your help, you'll have a beautiful marriage.
Thank you, madam. We'll keep in touch with you, please, for another opportunity. Thank you. So let's quickly acknowledge Rufus Woluba from our online platform, following from Liberia. James Flomo Kellen says he's following from New York. Gabriel Dolo says marriage is a culturally and often legally recognized union between people, typically involving a formal ceremony or legal contract. So he said many there. Thanks to Kabina Escobar for following. And now to you, Leon, as you take leave of us, what are your final words?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of advantages to getting married. Everything in life is a challenge. Being married is a challenge. Being single is a challenge. Having children is a challenge. Not having children is a challenge. You just have to pick the ones, the challenge that you're willing to face. Not getting married is an option. Getting married is an option. So pick whatever you think that you're able to handle.
Thank you. And to you, finally, Gloria.
Yeah, so I think no matter how frequent divorces are today, marriage is still a beautiful thing. Let us, as young people, just make sure we are deeply prepared to that stage of life, and also make sure we are really committed to the person we will choose to live with together forever.
Great. Well, listeners and viewers, this is where we conclude the 23rd edition of Take the Lead here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. It has been a pleasure having you with us. Please join us next Friday for another live episode of this program. Remember to take the lead in shaping the discourse for the betterment of young people in Africa. My name is Augustine Bilkali. Bye for now.
We thank you for listening to this program in Nigeria on Darling